This is the main thing that is screwing you, all right? So, and I had this conversation with another person in the MLA, the exact same thing. So you've got you over here, Gooey. This is you, man. The Rumble player, mid to high plat, whatever. You can have some good games, bad games, whatever. And obviously, naturally, you want to get better at the game and you want to be ideally a higher rank, whether it's D4, whether it's Master, doesn't matter. You want to be higher than where you are. You're not happy with plateauing at Plat 1. Okay? So, when obviously something negative happens, you make a mistake, maybe you die to a gank, whether you, like you said, don't create a secondary win con. Things that you know, like if you're really honest with yourself, you could identify these as issues within your game. You know that these are the reasons why you're losing, right? It's not like a mystery why you're losing games, right? Because we've done many reviews together.
Right.
Right. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think this is probably our fifth one or sixth one.
Right. You're pretty smart with Rumble. You kind of know what you got to do to win a game with Rumble. Now, what happens is that when you make one of these mistakes, you've got another part over here. You got, let's call, your brother, Dewey. And then, he's also similar rank, whatever. And this guy over here is judging you for every mistake that you make. And he's saying, you're just a fucking idiot. How could you make this mistake? That's just disgusting. That's terrible. Like, how could you do that? You should be ashamed of yourself. This is just terrible League of Legends, whatever. This guy is you're feeling ashamed for making mistakes. And as a result of you really wanting this rank and the pressure that you're putting yourself and then the lack of being okay with failure. There's no being okay with failure here. The result is that, like, fuck, I gotta win more. Like, I can't make this. I gotta try harder. I gotta win more. And as a result, we always know that if you're trying to make up for lost games, right? If you're in that mindset, fuck, I gotta make up for that lost LP or whatever. I'm assuming there's many things at play here. Then you start to doubt yourself. Then confidence issues start to seep in. You start to, judge yourself even more because now you're losing games at a lower rank. And then again, a classic defense response comes in. Well, what's the point of all this? So I'm now losing it here. I can't even win at Plat 3 anymore. What's the fuck the point? Why would I play? Spend all this time and effort coaching, whatever. It's just a joke. And then, inevitably, you drop so low. You've had enough. You eventually win a few games. You get up to the rank that you really are. And I truly believe you are just like a Plat 1 Rumble player. And then it's just a rinse-repeat cycle because you've hit a plateau here. Now, at this point, the key problem is that you are making some mistakes for whatever reason at Platinum 1. Maybe your mental stack is a bit overwhelmed. Maybe you're feeling super nervous and trying to try extra hard to get to Diamond 4. I don't know what it is. We can get to that. We'll figure that out. But the key issue is that you're not allowing yourself to fail. In your mind, failure or making a mistake it's the fucking end of the world, dude. You're not allowed to make mistakes, man. You've convinced yourself that you're not allowed to make mistakes. Because if, for whatever reason, maybe it's in your past, like mistakes means you're bad at something. And if you're bad at something, maybe you have like some form of fixed mindset, you can't get better. Or maybe, mistakes means you're going to get laughed at or ridiculed. I don't know. I don't know you as a person. I don't know your history, but we all have reasons as to why we don't allow us. Maybe you're a perfectionist, and in other areas of your life, you're a perfectionist, and making mistakes is just not allowed. It's just, it's just not feasible for you. And I've met many players in gold and plat that are stuck purely because they are perfectionists and they don't allow themselves to fail. But League fundamentally it's fucking hard, dude. The game is so hard. So in order to improve, you got to be okay with failure. You're going to make embarrassing mistakes. Your mental state's going to be overwhelmed and you're going to lose games to your team. You're going to die to ganks sometimes. Even if you are competent with avoiding ganks, let's say you get that 85% competence, there's still 15% of games here where you're going to still die to a random gank. I don't die. I mean, I still die to random ganks. I played the game for 11 years. I still die to random ganks. right? And so, but I don't beat myself up for dying to a random game. Yeah, it sucks. But all right, cool. Yep, I know where that happened. All right, got to get my shit together, and then I might look at like why I died to that game, but whatever. It's like it's a small mistake. It's a noise mistake in the grand. It's not a priority for me. You're overemphasizing these mistakes. You're letting these eat these are killing you. So we need to shut this guy up. You need to come in with the mindset where it's okay. If I'm going to get to Diamond, if I'm going to go to Diamond 2, Diamond 1, if I'm going to become the player I want to be, it's inevitable that I'm going to make mistakes because I'm versing better quality opponents. And I love that because that's what the game is all about. Like, I want to be pushed. I want to be competitive. I want to verse better players such that I get to learn more about the game. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a weak person. It doesn't make you any less than someone else. And it doesn't mean you're not going to become the person you want to be. You must stop this overemphasizing of mistakes and killing yourself for making mistakes. This is where I think it's all going wrong. Do you see where I'm coming from, man?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, so you're saying essentially
It's
because
expectation.
I have this perfectionist mindset, and
Yeah.
I feel like because I have this belief that I'm like, you know, a superior person or prideful or whatever,
Yeah,
like
whatever.
that underlies, you know, and that leads to this perfectionist mindset of like, well, of course I'm going to do it right because I'm this kind of person, you know, and then I don't do it right, and then all of a sudden it's super painful, and I don't even want to look at it anymore.
Yeah.
I need to just get away from that and accept that everybody makes mistakes, and
Well, because
especially plat players. And,
yeah, but what's happened is you've completely, you are, from what I can hear right now, you are, like, in a way, Rumble. Like, you haven't separated you as a person to you as your in-game level of play. You actually haven't. For you, these two are actually combined. You are your in-game level of play in terms of your self-worth as a person. You are your mistakes. That's what your mind is telling you right now. If you make a mistake in this game, you're a piece of shit. That's just disgusting. You're a low-level person. That's the way you're framing it mentally, right?
right.
But if you're able to separate it, be like, well, fuck, you know, in order to improve, like your skateboarding, you're gonna fall over a few times. You're gonna fall over a few times, and in order to get better and be the person you want to be, you're gonna have to fail. You're gonna get injured. You're gonna, you know, it's just the type of shit that's gonna happen. And this all ties down to it again. It really does tie down to the quality of self-talk, not overemphasizing mistakes, embracing mistakes, the solitude contract, getting into the details being medicine. Being honest with yourself and trying to get to the bottom of a given mistake. Is it because you came in with a lack of focus? Did you not do a pre-game ritual? Or was it that you just genuinely didn't use the loading screen? You didn't think about where the enemy jungle started? What is it? It's not some grand conspiracy why you made a mistake is a mistake. And then sometimes, right, it's so small that it's just noise and then those happen. And yet, you're going to fucking lose the game because it's unlucky. Those do happen. But in order to see these mistakes logically, you again, it all is predicated on the fact, before you even enter the block, that shit's going to go down. And you're not going to play a perfect game of League of Legends. And that's just the way it's going to be. And you got to love that. You really do. You really, really do. And Timofa has been talking to me recently, and this is, I think, like, at this point, kind of like an epidemic within the League community, is that we have a bunch of people that are perfectionists because maybe they're really good at what they do in real life, or maybe, again, they have a fixed mindset, or they've only ever put their time into things that they are naturally good at, which was me when I was growing up. If I wasn't naturally good at something, I gave it up. I gave up everything that I actually liked that I wasn't good at. Guitar and all this shit. I gave it up.
Right.
And you know, at some point, you got to come to terms with it. It's like, fuck, well, you know, I might not be naturally talented, and it might take more time than to me improve rather than someone else, but cool. Bring it on. All right, so man, I think you're
Yeah.
really gonna have to reflect on this. This is gonna tie into your again something like a bit of a mindset shift that is gonna have to happen over time. I urge you, and this is the thing. I don't give a fuck if you quit as soon as you get to Diamond 4, right? I couldn't care less. I just want you to stay in the fight and get to a point where, because what I hope that you get out of this entire MLA experience, Gui, I couldn't actually care less if you quit at D4, you quit at D1, you quit at D2. It doesn't matter as long as we can break this. If you can honestly say to yourself that your experience in league, you know, what you got out of your hobby was you actually developed a fucking sharp, strong mentality towards improvement, man, that's gonna stay with you forever, man. That's invaluable.
Yeah, I've noticed it a couple times outside of League Two, and it's definitely not a helpful mindset.
Okay?
Just wanting to quit when things get tough.
Yeah.
Or not quit, but like going through the motions, or not really trying and giving your best effort. Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah, it fucking
It's not
sucks.
good.
And it feels shit as well, dude. I remember there's like that one of my favorite David Goggins quotes before we get into the game. He says, I know what's on the back end of quitting. Like the pain that you will feel after when you quit outweighs any of the pain that you will feel if you just, if you actually like try and get beat down and try. If you quit, that's the worst pain. It's the worst pain you'll feel. And you felt that, right? You've done that many times by the sounds of things, even in league. You've quit and then you're like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the real pain is like, if I do this for another 6 months and I don't improve and I'm just going through the motions, that's really painful.
You know what that should be? You know what?
Especially if
You got to flip that narrative. You know what it should be? This is what David Goggins says, and it's fucking important. And I think Nathan's got this really good mindset. It's like, you should, in a way, be like, if I'm still at the same spot in 6 months, but then I keep pushing, and then I get to the goal that I want to get, but it takes me 12 months. You know how much shit you would have had to go through to get this? You know how good it will feel at the end? Like, even though this sounds ridiculous, even though I don't even think this is the way it's going to go, but what's happening, I can see you already see it. You're like, oh, but at this time, if I don't get X result, I'm a failure. You know? No.
Yeah.
You can't ever frame it like that. We don't know what's going to happen. Take it day by day, right? Week by week. And, right, it just might so happen that the path you chose, you might be still the same rank in 6 months, but then on the 7th month, who knows? There's a story of Ishan in Nathan Soul 2, who he put in all this work. He was stuck in like platinum, and then as soon as he got to plat 1, and he got to his promos, he went like basically straight to master tier, essentially, because it was all the built up learning and the fundamentals that he had learned through plat. It just clicked, and he just smooth sailed through to platinum and through to master tier. So I don't know what your journey is gonna look like. It could be like Ishan's. It might not. You could be 6 months in D4 and then fucking 3 months in D3, but then in 1 month you go from D3 to 300 LP. I don't know, dude. So this is the thing. Your mind is constantly telling you, if this happens, you are X. If this happens, this is like, fuck that, dude. Who cares? Can't think.
You gotta fall in love with the process.
Yeah, you're not truly embracing it.
Not the deadline.
Yeah, you're right.
I see.
It's not a failure. There's no such thing. It's only a failure when you give up. That's what it is. I think Kobe Bryant said that quote. It's like, it's only a failure if you give up. Like, you only lose when you give up. It's a very important quote. All right, so let's see what you got, man. So why this VOD in particular?
Well, this one seemed like it was one where I was really trying to apply what we talked about in the last coaching session, which is just being more patient and looking for opportunities instead of forcing things. This was I really didn't see a lot of opportunities in this game, but there was a couple of key ones where I think I played it fairly well. Obviously, there's some luck involved, and I'm curious if you think I missed opportunities or maybe I took the wrong ones, or as far as like roaming and pressuring and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you got some pretty volatile side lanes. They got a Shen jungle with pretty low threat who started bot side. If Shen doesn't get an early kill, he's just going to get out cleared. So I'm assuming your strategy here is the classic get shoved in, look for all ends at level 3.
Right.
Is that it?
Well, yeah, and it's pretty much allow Cat to push the wave in. I don't want to get chased down the lane.
Okay.
And then, it's much easier for me to do the all in level 3 if it's on this side.
Yeah.
Or, just pressure and then shove and then try to go to the scuttle fight.
So it looks like Cat likely warded on that side. Top side. Okay, so Shen showed bot. Maybe he's on 3-camp. Did he do 3-camp bot side? Maybe he did 3-camp bot side. No, he soloed blue then. He didn't get I swear he didn't get a leash. I think he soloed blue. Okay. Interesting. Caught me off guard.
So here I was like, okay, well, obviously there's not going to be a scuttle fight.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about hovering bot, but then I didn't want to get collapsed on.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'll just sit here, I guess.
Okay. So do you usually struggle? Do you struggle in this matchup usually? Is this one of the harder Rumble matchups, or how do you perceive this matchup?
I guess it's extremely snowballing, and it can go really well, but it can also be really hard. And this cat she never went for that crazy solo kill on me that a lot of cats do. Sometimes that happens, and I just don't understand like why they have so much damage. And I watched your like how to counter cat video and everything.
So look, a few.
But then sometimes I get the solo kill on her too.
Yeah. So look, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, one thing that you did really well here, instead of walking backwards, you just walk forwards through and now she has nothing. Where's she gonna go? Right? She can only jump her here, and there's gonna be no dagger, so she probably doesn't want to do that. So she's forced to take the damage. So the key is like you've been trying to do here is really avoid those daggers. I mean, and now you have so much threat that she can't even shump her onto you, because if she shump her, she's just dead. So you're doing a pretty good job here. I mean, ideally, a big win in this lane wouldn't really just be a solo kill. I think if you can just get the TP out of the Katarina, I feel like that would be a big win.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there's you stuck. Okay, good hovering on the bot side, top side here. We know where they are for now.
I didn't notice that Shin had Predator.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, so look, honestly, this is what I would call... I mean, I think many people would die to this gank. I mean, I'm dying to this gank, Like, this is... Now you know, there's that interaction. I mean, Tarek following the Shen, even if you traded flash for flash here, you're dead. So you did a good job of turning it around. Trading a kill. So it could have been worse. But now we definitely know that there's a predator Shen on the loose who's making your life quite miserable. But I think it was only really made worse from the Tarek, to be honest with you. Okay. So what do we see? Top trades kills. Mordekaiser holds the way for you. We get the Katarina TP out in the middle of the lanes, which is great. That's amazing, isn't it?
The Mordekaiser, I played that really well. I was really happy that he froze that wave there.
Excellent. We forced the TP out. Now Katarina's going to really struggle to get into a side. Shen is still level 3 because he obviously can't clear that well. He's just permanently going for ganks. So we see Katarina move on to top side. So what was your mindset at this point in time? What did you want to do?
Well, I was looking for some kind of win condition or roam opportunity. And it seemed like maybe it would be top, but then you get solo killed here. So,
Okay.
so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go try to go to bottom. Just kind of look and see if there's anything there, and then that didn't really work out either because Mordekaiser's top, and I don't know where Shin is. So I was like, oh.
Okay.
So I ended up just doing the Skullcrap here because I actually thought Shin already did it, but I think it's the respawn one.
Top bot looks pretty overextended. This looks like a bit of a play angle here.
Yeah.
Might have been a potential missed opportunity there. I can't really tell though. It would have been good to pan your camera regardless.
Yeah.
Okay. We end up missing a wave because of the scuttle. I don't think this is worth it whatsoever, man. Screw the scuttle. It's not really worth jack shit. Like, I'd much rather... It's not worth missing an entire wave for, you know?
Okay.
Okay, looks like Katarina's likely reset. Don't know if she did or not. We end up moving bot. Could have been, I think, slightly closer to the wall, but not too bad. We do get the flash. So bot lane is really not farming at all, by the looks of things. Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't look at the farm.
So your bot lane's doing
actually, yeah. If you look at the farm, it's actually way better than than I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're doing pretty well, honestly. Like Tarek and Shen, I think they're just honestly just looking to cheese. Like I think that's going to screw the end. The Swain. I mean, it's a Swain with a support item as well, and the Tarek's roaming, so the Swain's getting like no gold here. But I think you have the right idea. I mean, honestly, I don't think you can really kill the Katarina anymore. Like, I think it's going to be quite hard. If she doesn't want to die, it's kind of hard. So I think you just want to keep constantly shoving and moving. Nice, we have complete bot river control. Shove and hover again. Excellent. Okay, we decide to save for one more. That is a very good sign, isn't it?
Right.
Very, very good sign.
I was thinking Yone was out of the game, but yeah, then he starts to come back here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's a great sign. So I think you have a lot of potential win cons here. Right? I mean, you got now Yone solo killing the Urgot. Your bot lane seems to be doing pretty good. You're stacking a dragon. Mordekaiser's quite strong. You have very strong 3v3s. Don't think this is going to really work out, though, because they're very tanky, but we'll see.
Yeah, I really wanted to go by. But, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like this whole game up to this point, there were no opportunities, basically. And I finally saw one, and I was like, well, might as well. And Mordekaiser was just... He played it really well, I think.
Okay. So, look, honestly, I thought this was going to be rough. I thought if Katarina followed, this would have been a disaster. But Katarina actually kind of walks back and starts getting a ward or something. So, ends up working out not too bad. Obviously, the ultimate not the best. Bit unfortunate, but... Rome was not too bad. Look, at the end of the day, you wanted to reset, but if a play's going to go, you know, you got to go. So, not too bad. Played it pretty well. Minus the ult. Okay. So, I mean, like I said, you've got plenty of win cons here. Right? I mean, bot lane, I still think are doing okay. I don't think they're going to be the best win con, but they're doing okay. Mordekaiser's bloody strong. And Yone's now got a shield bow. So I think you have a lot of options. A lot of options here. I think ideally, in my experience, when I have a fed... if I have a fed Yone, you can't really lose in a way. So I think going top would be very valuable here. But we do know that Tarek has no flash. We end up moving topside. He gets another solo kill. Excellent. Bot lane kills in the 2v2. I mean, this game's looking very, very good. Help our jungler on topside. Good job. Hover. Get back on mid wave. Katarina's moving bot. I think just shove and move top here. Screw bot side. Shove and move top. Dive the Urgot, ideally.
Yeah, I saw her die, and then I saw the teleport, and yeah, it ended up. I didn't even think about going top. I thought I should get the plate sooner, but
Because I look at
yeah,
this and I look at my bot lane's position and I see Katarina already having move. I'm thinking, well, fuck me. It's highly unlikely that me moving there is really going to change anything. You know, like
right.
they're probably going to be dead. So yeah, either get mid plates or go top. So I think what I would have done specifically is pan my camera top, see that Yone was dead, and then just go mid plates. I think that's what I would have done specifically. But not too bad. I can see your intention.
Yeah, I was just thinking like maybe somebody would get really low and I could just toss an all or something. But yeah, it's just I probably could have got one more play, I think.
So what were you thinking here at the point of the game? Because you have a lot of, I think you have a lot of options. What were you thinking?
I was thinking the win con is definitely Yone. So I wanted to play around him, and I saw he came in and was starting to go bot. So I was like, okay, well let's all go together.
And Dragons.
Unfortunately, the Tarek ult just makes it kind of hard to land a good rumble ult, and I didn't really think about that.
I mean, it just seems very forced. I mean, look, if Yone is going to do this, it just sucks because Mordekaiser's look at Mordekaiser's gold. He just pinged his gold before. He's sitting on 4,000 gold or some shit. Or did he just reset? I can't tell. No, I think actually no, he must have just reset. That's fine. But I just think ideally you're playing around the objective, and like you said, I think Tarek ult is a bit of a pain in the ass for you, but you still did get a bit of damage off. I think it's just a shame that both of you use your ultimates just before the dragon spawns. But it is what it is. Yone wanted that to happen. Bot lane dies. We've got rocket belts. Luckily, they don't contest the dragon. Okay. What I've noticed here is that your default response is you're following a lot. You know what I mean? So, like, Katarina, I think, shoved and moved topside here. I don't know. Like, if it just seems very difficult. Like, I would rather just give that topside, just shove and make her react, and then go bot. Like, that's my default response. Like, especially when I don't have ultimate. And I know they have Shen ult as well, you know? It's quite hard. And Yone had no ult. I don't think you guys were ever going to win that. Good, good, good. Mordekaiser's bot side. Could be a good opportunity to hover. Excellent. Good hover. Come back mid. So great. No rush, right? True dragons. Yone's doing pretty good. Mordekaiser's absolutely killing it. Looks like a pretty free game, no? Did you win this one?
I was. Yeah, we did. I was still feeling a lot of pressure at this point.
So you were feeling pressured because why, specifically?
It just felt like our bottom line was dying a lot, and I felt like I couldn't get anything done because I think I only had one roam that kind of worked in this whole game. Yeah, there was a whole lot of just like looking for something, you know, and then just maybe I should do that. I definitely didn't think about the Shinol either. I don't know, it's a lot of. I didn't look at the Predator. I didn't think about his ult. Probably would have been good to do. And here I didn't think about my rocket ult
as well.
Yeah,
you should wait for your E and then rather than I think you would kill Shen here if you actually waited for your E.
Yeah. That happens a lot too, where I'll have my ult's about to come off cooldown, and I don't think about it, or my E's about to come off cooldown, and I just instead of noticing the cooldown, I overheat, and then afterwards I'm like, oh shit, that just came off cooldown. Or they're like the rocket belt came off cooldown, I could have killed him with it.
By the way, when you're in the game itself, you know how we're kind of talking about your expectations of yourself and, you judge yourself a lot. Were you actually thinking of, like, how you felt like you failed a lot of roams or whatever this game? Like, were you thinking... Did you feel... Like, were you thinking about that in this game?
I mean, I felt like my hands were tied. Like I just couldn't do anything.
Okay.
And it felt pretty bad. I don't know if I was like judging myself,
Right.
but I felt like they just weren't giving me any chances to. So yeah, I mean, I was feeling pretty bad.
So look, Gui, overall, it was a tough game from a roam perspective, wasn't it? There was very little options. It felt really awkward. I mean, every time you did roam, they were either shoving or your enemy died when you could roam. It was just tough, right? It was one of those very awkward games. This is what I would call, like, from a roam perspective, a lot of noise, wasn't there? It's not the fact that you didn't have prio. You had prio, but there was, because these lanes are so chaotic and so awkward, it just felt really rough, didn't it? It wasn't like you had an obvious winning side as well, right? It's not like it's not like you had a clear plan. It's like, okay, this person's winning, I want to do X. This is a classic messy solo queue game, isn't it? Messy. So, great. They're normal. They happen. I think my biggest criticism this entire game, it actually has less about your roams. I think your roams were actually okay. Yep, there's a little bit of nitpicks here and there where maybe we overstayed for the scuttle, maybe we overstayed on the map, maybe a little bit here and there. Like there was like, and here when Katarina was like moving to places, you were always following rather than thinking about a counterplay. I think that's like one of the main learnings, how your default response is to follow rather than make a counterplay on the other side of the map. That is one trend I have seen within your games. And I think this is something that I would urge you to look for in your future games. But I think the main takeaway from what I can see right now, I don't think your quote-unquote strategic aspect of the game is incorrect. I think you're pretty good at identifying roam windows, and I can see that your reference point is solid. I think where you're struggling right now is largely execution. The execution across the board was sloppy. Your ults, sloppy. You weren't thinking about interactions with champions, like the Predator Shen. You weren't thinking about like like the top side here, that entire scenario with Predator there, overheating in fights, randomly using your ultimate before the dragon, like a lot of execution oriented stuff. So I think from what I can see right now, yeah, there's a lot of noise here. There's a lot of like plays where I would think you could easily overemphasize. But this is a classic messy solo queue game, and these games happen where you're not going to have a stock standard winning side. You're going to be able to beautifully shove and move and dive stock standard. No. I think this one, I wouldn't say it's an active learning objective, but this first one, something that I would urge you to look for in your reviews. What I would also urge you to do for the second point in your reviews is go to each and every skirmish where it either felt wrong or either was wrong. So either it just felt off, like something felt off about the way you played the fight, or it was wrong, like objectively you just know you played it poorly. And don't just identify what you should have done. Notice why you made your initial decision or what variable you didn't consider. What I've noticed right now, and maybe this is just the nature of Rumble, is that I kind of feel like Rumble is one of those champions where like these games don't feel... Like a lot of Rumble players don't feel comfortable in these sorts of games because either A, you're completely fed off your ass, either you're on solo kills or roams, in which case you can in a way be inefficient with your damage because you just do so much damage, or you're so useless and you provide so little utility that the little details don't even fucking matter. There's no middle ground. But when you play champions with a lot of utility, you're actually forced to think about the small details because even if you're behind, you just are going to think about it because you can still be useful. So I think maybe, potentially, because of the nature of Rumble, you've been allergic to getting into the details. And I think these details are really mattering. They do matter. They do matter. A wasted ult. A missed kill.
Right.
Like, these things do matter. The dying to a Predator gank. Like, these things do make a lot of... Like, they do, I guess, add up over the course of a game. And because you're such a skirmish-oriented champion, And skirmishes literally, that's the hinge. That's your games will literally hinge on the effectiveness of your skirmishing. I think this is likely having quite a big negative effect. But in order to get into this, dude, notice how you would have to get into the details. You would have to be pretty honest with yourself and look at what variables you aren't considering. Do you not consider the state of the waves when you go to a fate? Do you not consider their summoners? Do you not consider their itemization? Do you not consider their rune setup that they have, or whatever it might be? I don't know. For what I can definitely see here, that Predator is definitely not in your mental stack. But that's just one. So that's I guess a process I would urge you to follow to increase, and with the overarching goal to increase the quality of your decision making and specifically skirmishing. So you know that when you are going into a skirmish, you know how to play it out in order to maximize your damage and optimize your effectiveness in that fight. Sometimes you aren't going to have to, you're going to have to hold your R. You're not going to R at all. Or you're going to have to call it off knowing that it's a bad fight. These are things that only you can see in hindsight, but sure, don't just look at what you would have done. Why did we not see the optimal play? What variables did you not consider? Okay. So this, alongside looking for counter plays rather than following, I think are true pragmatic ways to improve your effectiveness. I think your roaming and stuff like that is fine, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. So specifically review the skirmishes, especially the ones that just didn't feel good, and look at what information wasn't processed. What should I be thinking about? To play that correctly.
And even those basic mistakes, like those deaths to ganks, don't just look at it as like, oh, I should have been leaning, whatever. It's like, why did you not, like, what about this gank did you not, why did it catch you off guard specifically? Oh, it was the Predator, Like, just get specific about the variables. And this is the thing, the counter to tilt, I'm telling you this, and I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. The counter to tilt and the counter to, like, feeling frustrated all the time is getting into details, because when it makes sense, like when the game makes sense as to why things happen and everything is like logical, there's no room for emotion, or emotions get put to the wayside. I'm telling you, reviews and really good quality, like getting into the details, saved my ass. And they will too for you, man.
Yeah, that sounds really smart. I should definitely do that.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Cool, man. Well, hopefully this gives you a bit to think about, both with the mentality stuff and some of this in-game stuff, and let me know how it goes.